All right, hello, Joker Prime and Squints back again with Tabletop Syndicate. We have completed the first round of our 300 3v3 tournament. Now we're going to be doing our bracket review and breakdown, looking at the second round, a little bit about what happened in the first round. So if you're wanting to go through and watch those matches and wanting to be kind of surprised, whatever, you might want to turn back now because we're on to the second round, talking about our matchups for this round, a little bit what happened, and how the bracket is unfolding. So I'm going to talk about the top part just a little bit real quick. So my Kryptonian versus Avengers. Looking at the first round, Avengers blew out my Justice Society. If you're looking for that game, sorry, it disappeared. Something happened in the recording. I swear I didn't do it on purpose. But you didn't miss much, I promise. Justice Society had Shazam, Green Lantern, and I can't even remember the third piece now. I've blocked it out of my mind.
I don't remember either, to be honest.
But it wasn't pretty. I mean, that Avengers team's pretty nasty.
Right.
So it makes me nervous a little bit against my Kryptonian team. You know, Superman Prime is a beast, but I don't want to be overconfident or cocky, and I don't think it's just going to be a walk in the park there. So Kryptonians matching up against Avengers for the first match on this second round.
Yeah, I think that first round, those are both unseeded teams.
Yep, those are both unseeded playing in my first seed.
Yeah, so the Avengers ended up being, I think, a little bit stronger than I thought. I knew they could be nasty. And so Kryptonian, man, I've played against it before. I've played against that Superman Prime, and I'm not super confident and being able to take him down with my Avengers. But after playing the Avengers in the first round, I'm a little bit more hopeful because I have some potential damage output that maybe I can take on that Superman Prime. But we'll have to see. It's not my typical Avengers team. It's kind of an offshoot, but they were stronger than I thought they were going to be. And then let's see here. So that's the first matchup. Like I said, make sure to go back and watch the videos. We don't want to give away too much. We want you to go back and enjoy those videos if you haven't already. So then the second matchup we have there is Excalibur, which is one of my teams, versus Elders of the Universe, which is, again, one of my teams.
Yeah. They're matching up in the second round here.
Right, yeah, in the second round. That's what they're going to be matching up. They both pulled off some pretty good victories.
Yeah, so Excalibur upset my Teen Titans. Teen Titans was my 5 seed. And
right.
Excalibur, I feel like, just pretty easily cut through that.
Right. No, I think Excalibur was seeded, but it was a lower seed.
No, it wasn't seeded.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It wasn't one of my seeds. And so first upset of the tournament, I guess. And then
yeah, that's one thing. If you went and watched some of the videos we talk about, and if you're looking at this bracket with us right now, as we go through it, you'll see. But the upsets are just ridiculous.
Yeah, definitely unexpected. Kind of looks like we don't know what we're doing. It's so hard to see these teams, though. And so it's kind of a bummer whenever you have to play your own team, but then at the same time, that means that you won a match in the previous round that maybe you weren't supposed to.
And so you're moving on to the next round.
Exactly. So that is cool, but then it becomes difficult to choose which one should you play. So I'm not sure which one I'll play. Probably I will be leaning towards playing my seeded teams. And so it's looking like I'll probably be playing Elders of the Universe against my Excalibur team. So I'm just going to try to trust my seeds as much as possible.
Yeah. Next, I've got my Batman family pulled up a huge upset against Squints'
2 seed.
Yeah, the 2 seed, the Frightful 4. I was really scared for that team, but Batman family really came through. So there's the second upset of the tournament, big one for Batman family. One of my favorite teams. I didn't think very highly of it. It had more going on than I realized and thought. So pretty excited for them to move on. And also it worked its way into a Batman family versus Gotham City Underworld. So it's always fun when it works out like that.
Oh, yeah, that was completely unrehearsed or not planned at all. Because, again, we just randomly draw all the unseeded teams into the bracket.
Yeah, and it worked out so that they upset my Sinestro Corps. So 2 upsets led to this matchup here.
Yeah, I mean, the odds of that happening were insanely high, but it's really cool because that's so thematic to have Batman family versus Gotham City Underworld.
Yeah, and then next there, yet another upset. So if you're keeping track with us, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 right here in the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games.
Yeah, so our seeds are just dropping like flies.
I'll
It's
admit
insane.
my Avengers team is pretty stout, but I feel like it has its fair share of limitations as well. So that's kind of why I didn't seed them, and I'm not as familiar with it. Everything like that. So another upset for Avengers, and it's playing into my Codex that did its job and didn't get upset. So I'm going to have to decide who to play there, and it's really tough. I don't know. I probably won't know until time to play it because I really like both of those teams. They're both a lot of fun, and both have pieces I want some more experience with. So I'm not necessarily just going to go with my seeded team. I'm going to have to put some thought into that choice.
Right. And then we get to the bottom side of the bracket. We were both hoping maybe the upsets would stop, but who knows?
Well, this was both unseeded teams here.
True. And so it looked like, your Spider-Man family team made it through, beating my Justice League team.
That was a close matchup if you didn't watch it.
Yeah, so Spider-Man family, I've played it in the past. I know it has limitations, but I also know that they can also hit pretty hard. And and also knowing that these games that we play, we normally do for time and points instead of going all the way to the death. And sometimes that's where I mess up my seeding. Is I always sometimes forget that even if I think a team could outlast and go to the death, it doesn't mean that they can win in a timed match. So I'm a little worried about Latveria just because of the Doom bots that are going to be popping out, and potentially that's going to be a bunch of free points racking up against me. So I'm a little worried, especially considering we've already had so many upsets, namely my second seed fallen. So I'm a little worried, to be honest.
And I think we've referenced we might change the name of this tournament to Upset City.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because here's another upset, my Sins team. If you're familiar with the Sins, you may be thinking, well, this guy's an idiot for not seeding those. Well, I've not ever played but one of them, not very familiar with them. I, once again, believe they have limitations, especially for the way I typically build and play. But I know that they're fun, and I have all of them, so I wanted to try them out here. So the Illuminati team is definitely got a lot of strong potential, so it just kind of got a bad draw because that was a terrible matchup for them.
Yeah, but I mean, in retrospect, I put too much stock into one piece. I mean, I think that Professor X was strong but limited, and then Black Bolt couldn't carry the entire team by himself. So I kind of overestimated that for sure in retrospect.
So this is another place where I'm going to have to make a tough decision. And to be honest, in this one, I'm kind of leaning towards not playing my seeded team. My JLI was seeded, Justice League International with Booster Gold, made it through. It's a fun team, but I think I want to give the Sins a try. I did offer before we started that matchup. After looking at the Sins, I offered to switch them with one of my seeded teams. Squints declined, so we're rolling with it, seeing what happens. But yeah, so I'm leaning towards them, but I'm undecided at the moment. I might give JLI a shot. I kind of want to – I feel like it'll be a challenge for JLI, so I kind of want to challenge myself there. And if I lose, I'll get to play the Sins again anyway. So still undecided there.
So then our next matchup, the Fantastic Four against Dark Knight Metal.
No, they upset my monster.
Yeah, so my Fantastic Four is playing against your Dark Knight Metal.
Sorry.
And so that is going to be the second round. The Fantastic Four that I had pulled an upset. So yet again, mentioning upsets.
My 2 seeds. So both of our 2 seeds are knocked out of the tournament first round. Boom, done.
So my Fantastic Four team ended up, although it was, I think, a closer match than my 2 seed getting taken down. It ended up being a little bit closer than I expected.
I think I threw a little bit of a fit, maybe messed some things up.
Yeah, I think that was one game that we kind of messed up. And so you'll see in our videos we make some silly mistakes. Again, we're not like meta competitive players, but we usually do a lot of casual, make some mistakes.
The roles can get frustrating.
Oh yeah, they can. I've thrown plenty of hissy fits for sure. But Fantastic Four gonna take on Dark Knight's Metal. I'm not very confident. I've played against some of those pieces. They are very nasty, and so that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome if my Fantastic Four surprises me. But I honestly am not super confident against those pieces.
So yeah, my Dark Knight's Metal upset Masters of Evil. you know, Squints has mentioned it. I didn't put a lot of stock into these guys. I know they've got ridiculous things going on. Yes, they're chases, but not a single one is protected outwit. There's no stealth there, so no way to be hiding from being outwitted. If you can outwit a few of their key things, then you can really stop a lot. And I feel like the first hit's the toughest. I feel like once they get hit, then it's a little bit easier to take them down. So hitting them initially is probably the toughest part, but then it's kind of a domino effect if you can keep hitting them, in my opinion. That's why I did not seed them. Again, my personal style, there's things that are more limited there. Like, been plenty of times I was super excited for Red Death or a few other hypersonicers just for Squints to be like, okay, well, outwit hypersonic, have fun with that guy literally doing nothing the whole time.
Most of the time that was just payback for being outwitted.
But so just explaining kind of why they were unseated and able to pull that upset. I don't think it'll be a walk in the park with Fantastic Four either. I think that's going to be a slugfest, a close match. I'm hoping to pull that one out just to keep myself in this bottom side of the bracket because he's guaranteed one next through down here. I'd rather not be kicked out of a branch of the bracket just yet. But, yeah, so Dark Knight's Metal versus Fantastic Four. I think that'll be one of our better matches of the tournament probably so far.
Right. And then our last matchup for the second round is going to be my Hellfire Club versus my Mystics team. And so the Hellfire Club, I didn't see them because I felt like they were very limited. But fun. I thought they were going to be fun to play, and they ended up pulling an upset. I think the White Lanterns were seeded.
Yes, they were 6 or 7. 6, I think.
Yeah, so, I mean, just so many upsets, and it looks like we have no idea what we're doing when it comes to seeding teams. But sometimes it comes down to matchup. You know, you have something that you think is going to be really strong, and it just gets countered because of the way the other team is built. And then I got Mystics. My Mystics, I don't know which one I'm going to play, honestly. It's going to be a tough choice. Obviously, Mystics is my seeded team, so I'm leaning towards that. But the Hellfire Club ended up being really fun, and I think the Sebastian Shaw that's on there could be annoying and fun, but a little bit harder to pull off. Mystics just, again, whenever you can give your opponent damage for taking damage with Mystics team ability, that's kind of hard to win in that scenario. So I'll probably lean towards playing my seeded Mystics team.
So for those of you keeping track, that is 8 upsets for about 12 seeded teams there.
14 seeded teams.
Yeah, but our other 2 were automatically into the next round. So out of 8 games where a seeded team, or out of 12 games where a seeded team was playing, 8 of them got upset. Only 4 of our seeds did what they were supposed to that round. So kind of a crazy round, kind of fun to see how these things play out. Again, that's why we like to do these bracket reviews. And another thing to point out that really blew our minds is if you look at it, the bracket turned out to almost be mirror image. So my 1 seed and then his 1 seed, 3 of my teams, 3 of his teams, mine, his, mine, his, mine.
Yeah, so that's like a spitting image.
So, yeah, it's pretty crazy and mind-blowing, especially with the number of upsets and just, I don't know the probability of it coming out like that.
It would be outrageously high.
Exactly the same number of our teams playing against each other and our teams playing against ourselves. Nobody's just dominating one side of the bracket. I have 3 chances here. He has 3 chances here to move on. Same thing down here. So it is fun to see and crazy to see how this thing is panning out.
Yeah, second round should be fun.
Appreciate it. Please keep following along and watching our matchups. And hopefully you guys enjoy these bracket reviews because, again, we're kind of bracket nerds. We enjoy going through them and kind of analyzing and having these discussions throughout the tournament adds on, not just getting to play heroclix, which is a huge bonus as well. So thanks, and we'll see you next time.